Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into Vaco's LinkedIn Live Be Heard series. My name is Lauren Becker. I'm the mom of two. I'm a wife. In any spare time I have, I'm an unpaid Uber driver, carting my kids to all of their activities, and also the managing partner here at Vaco's within our Connecticut practice. So please welcome our very special guest, Areej. Areej Duval is the Senior Vice President and the U.S. Financial Controller at Aspen Insurance. I've known Areej for probably going on 10 years. She's been a leader I've always looked up to and admired, and the folks that I've placed with her have always felt the same. She's a tremendous person with an amazing story, so I'm very excited to have her here with us today. So Areej, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Lauren. Hi, everybody. So again, my name is Areej. Just really quick background. I grew up in the Middle East and then I immigrated to the U.S. I've been with Aspen now 7 years. I am the controller now, but I've been in prior positions, VP Finance, managing the ceded outward reinsurance. And I've been in my current role for a year now. I have 14 people reporting up to me, and then I actually have 25 offshore people as well, because we have offshored a lot of our business. And it's been a great run. Very busy company, a lot going on, and I've had a lot of opportunity to actually move up within the company. So it's really been great.
Yeah, you've had a tremendous career there, taking on more and more. I feel like every time I talk with you.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about, we're going to delve into how you've pivoted your team during COVID. You're a working mom, you have two boys, and you were right there in the trenches when COVID hit. And also we'll delve into your advice to women pursuing leadership roles and some of the lessons you've learned along the way. So to start off, Areej, growing up, obviously you had touched upon how you didn't grow up here in the US. Tell us a little bit about maybe an influence or two that guides you now as a female leader.
Well, the main thing, I think I've said this to other people, I'm the eldest girl of the eldest girl of the eldest girl. So in my culture, that kind of meant that I was the leader, the fixer, the doer, whatever needed to be done, I was responsible. And I think that really shaped who I am. But also at the same time, coming from a culture where maybe not as encouraged to go into the field that I am in, a little bit different way of thinking of doing things. However, I found ways to be able to express myself and say, you know what, I am interested in doing this. I do want to change what I'm doing and get out there. And then eventually, like I said, I immigrated to the U.S. and had opportunities that I think now they are there. But 25 years ago, there were not as many opportunities for women there.
Wow. And that must have been such a big leap for you to put yourself out there to raise your hand for some of those things that you did.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. A lot of it is, I think, like some people, some of it's accidental. You're not quite sure. You're just trying things out. It's not always a perfect line towards what you're going to do, right? You just kind of, you know what, I'll try this. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, just that bold confidence that you have at the core led you to do that.
Yeah, why not? Just try it. And there's always, I think we said before, you're going to be afraid. Sometimes it doesn't quite feel right, but give it a try. It doesn't hurt.
Absolutely. So talking about kind of lessons learned from COVID the last 2 years, I know it's been, talked about quite a bit on many platforms, but, your kids are a little bit older than mine, so our experiences were different, but how did you manage that time? I think, putting yourself back 2 years ago, you have this team, some's offshore, some's here, everyone has different challenges, but, how did you manage as a working mom and a leader when more is being asked of you than ever, and during that time?
Well, some of it, I think, like others, is a little bit of chaos in the beginning.
Yeah.
I do have two teenage boys, so with that age, made it a little bit easier where they can text me when they want something, or they'll stand on the side and pantomime where I wave them to go away. Um, and most of the time, we figured it out, right? And I think a lot of it with COVID, everyone's learned, everyone's home life is different, right? You have pets coming by, kids coming by, people ringing the doorbell. And I think it made it more okay.
Yeah.
Where when I was younger, having a child cry or something when I'm on the phone, you felt like you shouldn't be in that position. Now it's normal. It's not this huge thing, not a big deal. So with that, with my teams, what we do, we have a weekly Zoom meeting.
Yep.
Now, trust me, not everyone wants to be there. I realize that. And sometimes I'm a really bad TV talk show host. But the idea, though, right, is to bring everyone together, introduce the new people, what's going on, how are people doing. We try to do some fun things. Like we brought in like a quiz game, quiz show host. They did a quiz for us. Send sweatshirts out, try to see if people are interested in connecting during COVID.
Yeah.
I think we even did a share your pet day. So some of it's silly, but that's the point is everyone's got different interests. And you got to give everyone a chance to kind of show a little bit about their world and accept that our home lives were the way they are right now.
Right. Right. It's really brought down that barrier between our home life and our work life, in some really good ways, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I think obviously most of us are home so we can see our kids or families more often.
Yeah.
Honestly, the beginning, but I am very much an extrovert. I like to be out there. And I think we all learn phones and everything more and more. But I think it works. And I think I can talk to before other people. Most of the time, I'm not extrovert. I have to learn how to talk to out. Some people are not going to share it in a big setting. So most of the folks call one on one. That's it. How are you guys doing? Everything doing okay? And that's just how much those folks as well.
Absolutely. No, I love that everyone's become a little bit more human
Yes,
through this.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So now thankfully I think COVID is kind of winding down a little bit. What are some of the lessons that you're going to keep with you and your team? Things that you're doing now that or just leading differently from things that we've learned over the last 24 months.
I would think the big thing, honestly, is a lot more empathy. That everyone is in different situations, understanding the different situations for each person, and being able to be like, okay, they're different from me. This person is not going to react the way I do, the way I handle things. With COVID, I think I learned that more. In the office, there's so many people and running around, you may not have enough time to really pay attention. When I'm on a one-on-one call, now I can really pay attention. I notice that something might be bothering someone. You get the nuance that something is wrong. And I think that really helped change my perception of, okay, I need to adjust to the energy of the person I'm working with.
Right. It's so true. And I think really having that one-on-one time with folks and having a video call and being able to see their reactions is huge as a leader. And I love your approach. And I think a lot of leaders lack that, frankly, or maybe that's just not something that all leaders are good at. And it's something that they need to work on is having that empathy and realizing that, supporting a whole person is going to help get better productivity at work.
Yeah, hopefully, I think that has worked for us. We have done a very good job retaining people or reaching out to, companies like yourselves that have helped us bring in good people. And having that one-on-one conversation with them. It's not a strict interview. It's get to know me. Or do you like me as a boss? Are you happy? Do you think this is a good fit for us? So very much changing the way we used to do things, especially as we hire remote. So we have to change how we interact with people.
For sure, it really has. So as far as here at Vaco, we and folks in our industry, we see the highs and lows of the candidate market, and we work with our clients to find top talent as they grow their businesses and support during project needs and consulting needs. How do you've built a big team? You have a big team. You have a great retention rate on the folks that you've had on your team. So what are some things that you do to intentionally maintain and retain your talent?
So one of the big things last year when I stepped into this role was understanding where everyone was coming from. Have they been promoted recently? Have they gotten any decent raises? What does it look like for them? And going back to HR and let's reevaluate them. Maybe their position isn't right. Maybe I can do something for them. For some people, it was simple as could we tweak their title a little bit? They didn't like the way it sounded. Could we adjust something else about the job description or could we help do something? So sometimes that's all it needed, but also truly promoted from within. So I got promoted. I promoted the people beneath me. Those people's jobs in turn changed, and it creates a ripple effect. So now everyone feels like they've been empowered. We didn't go out and just replace a higher level. We let everybody grow. And that seems to really have helped quite a bit. And then I also talk about succession planning. So when I talk to someone, I'm not talking about the role just they're in. What's their next role? What are they interested in? Now, not everyone wants to move up. So
Right.
it's also understanding that some people they're happy where they are. They're like, look, don't throw four people at me. Give me a chance to understand the job I'm in, and I'll let you know when I'm ready, I'm ready to be tapped. And some people don't speak up. You have to realize they would like to move up. It's just not in their nature to speak up.
That's so true. And I think, so many times what I hear, from folks that are in a confidential job search is there's nowhere for me to go. I don't know what my next step is. And the sad thing is that their leader, their manager might have in mind what their next step is and is just not sharing that with them. So I think that's one thing that you clearly do well is you let people know, I have your best interest at mind, and I want to see you move on to that next step. And that's I think that's a rare quality and a great quality that I think a lot of leaders could learn something from.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, as we're, thinking about, the next generation of leaders, right? And especially female leaders, what strengths are crucial as a leader? I know we talked about empathy, but what are some other tangible things that you think are important for a leader to work on or have?
It's raising your hand, I think, is a big part of it. When, as a young woman entering, my first thought was I need to be conservative, I needed to conform, I needed to fit in, I needed to talk like the people around me, and then realizing as I took steps up is raise my hand, I can do this. And no, I don't have to dress with a turtleneck, let's say, right? Just trying to give like a real example, right? Um, I can have the wild curly hair, that's okay. How I present is not, that's me. This is my personality. I can be me. I can share who I am. And I think that actually shows people a little insight. They trust you, they believe you. The real you is coming out. And that has helped me move up. A lot of it, though, is you got to say something. What I found is that everyone just thinks you're happy where you are. If you don't say something, you just leave, you're not giving that person a chance to say, oh, I didn't know you wanted something else. So do that, speak up, say that. And then I always like to remember, where did I come from? I was frustrated that I didn't understand how raises were done or bonuses were done or how do you change jobs? So why not share that with people? Why have it be the secrecy, right? So I tried to apply what I myself felt, going through all of this.
Yeah, no, that's amazing advice. Honestly, it's raising your hand, asking questions. Um, Now, if you think back to when you kind of were early in your career, and when you got that first promotion, that first step in a leadership role, what was that like, and what lessons did you learn or mistakes did you make early in your leadership career?
Oh, good question. Um, I would say sort of probably taking on more than you can do because
Yeah.
you're afraid to say, oh my God, I took on too much. I need some help. Or let me go back and talk to someone to help me. And being able to say that because you feel like you failed. Like, I took this on, I told them I could do it, and now I'm huddled in a room worried and I can't get it done. It's no, you're allowed to ask a question. You're allowed to ask for help. Um, Maybe spread the questions around if you're uncomfortable asking the same person over and over again. But it's okay. But that is so hard to believe when you're younger that it's all right that you don't know everything or you asked to do something and now you're like, maybe that was a bad idea. that is all right. You can do that.
Right. It's so true. I think and I think so many people, whether you're a leader or not, you take on a task and you feel like you know, gosh, if I ask a question, it's going to reflect poorly. And I think that's a great lesson to learn, that it's okay to ask a clarifying question, or even let somebody know, hey, I think I might need a little bit more support in this area. um, yeah, no, that's a great lesson. That's a great lesson. We actually have a question that I want to from one of our audience members. Um, the question is, which soft skill should a junior employee have to become a leader? It's a great question.
This is a very good question. Um, First thing I think of is helping other folks. So if you're, let's say someone else needs help and you go over and you help them, you become that person that, look, this isn't my area, but let me see if I can help you or point you in the right direction. Or, maybe, you know what, if you're uncomfortable asking, I'll ask in a different way for you and see if I can help you out. Right there, you're already doing leadership things. You're helping other teammates in other areas, but you're also becoming comfortable. Maybe it's not quite your area, but you're asking the question, you're getting involved, and someone goes, huh, that person seems interested in that. That is a tough thing to do because you don't want to step on toes. You don't want to be bossy or look like you're getting involved where you're not supposed to. It truly has to come from an interest in what that other person is doing, and truly want to help them, truly want to get involved.
Truly, yes. I think I think that's spot on. I think genuinely caring about other people in your organization that maybe doesn't have a direct impact on your role, but just genuinely caring to help out for the greater good is huge, right? And that's what a leader is. A leader is someone who pulls out of a role that's really just based on their own production or own work, and it's you're evaluated on what people that work for you are doing, and yeah, that's great.
And
um
I would say I've come across also, I mean, you'll see, some other people will see this. You come across some people who don't share, who keep everything closed off and in their own little world. Don't do that. Open up, share, ask questions, reach across and help people. Um, there's too many silos and walls that get put up. And I never quite understood why, let's say, a boss would do that or a leader would do that. I'll let you know if I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes I have some people who are great at their job. I don't quite follow what they're doing. They got it. I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm like, that's great that you understand that you know that. And I'm not sure why going through sometimes maybe insurance, maybe because it's a conservative finance area, people aren't willing to just open up and share what they know.
yeah, yeah, that's maybe they feel, okay, well, if I'm the only one that knows this, I have job security, or they but it's true, that's not maybe that's not the best leadership mentality to have if that's their goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want three people who know how to do this. You can think of it that way instead.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. um so if we pivot and start, young folks that are out there, female leaders, and maybe folks that are kind of have a path similar to yours, right? Where they maybe are coming here for college or for school. What advice would you have for women who are pursuing a leadership path like you did?
I think evaluate what you can do. And I'll give an example. When I first decided to go to school, I was coming in for hospitality management. I then changed to finance, and I actually hated accounting. To be perfectly blunt, I am now a controller, and I hated accounting in college. And it wasn't until later I went and got another degree that it clicked. It made sense for me.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So I pivoted many times. That's all right if you pivoted, you changed your mind, you didn't know what you wanted to do. And then eventually you get in a job and see if you like it. If you don't like it, move out to something else. I changed jobs with a 6 month old baby at one point.
Oh my gosh.
Because it wasn't quite working for me. So I took the plunge, and it is hard. Trust me, it is hard to do that. It's hard to make a change like that. You always worry you're making a poor decision. But if you don't try it, you're not going to get out there. But that self doubt that, well, I changed my mind a lot, or I don't know what I want to do. You'll get there eventually. You don't have to have, some people have a path, like my husband. At 4, he knew he was going to be an engineer. and he became an engineer. That was not my path, not at all. So just try it out.
Yep. Raise your hand. Try it out. I love that. Um, we have another couple of questions from our audience. One question is, having a voice is needed, which I agree. But Lorenzo asked, should managers also recognize opportunities for their employees?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have someone, maybe she's viewing or watching, who maybe wasn't expecting to get moved up. She was fine where she was, but I could see another fit. Like, we'll keep what you have, but I can see something else and we can move you up. So it's the manager seeing that skill, seeing that that person has that ability, versus wanting to keep that person doing the same job because this job is safe. If I move them, oh my gosh, what do I do? No, you can't think that way. You grow that person, you help that person out, you get them to a better position, right? And then you don't just drop them there either. Help them, hold their hand for a little while. But yes, I'm always on the lookout. My team right now, they know they're doing their objectives right now, right? We have yearly objectives. I'm like, think about what else you want to do. And you may not know. I'll keep an eye out for you. If I hear something somewhere else, my goal is not to hold you back. If the UK calls and they want a financial planner and that might be a good fit for you, I'm going to volunteer your name. But you have to have a manager who's willing to do that. Too many people, I think, hold their people back and are afraid to have them leave that position.
Yep.
That doesn't help anyone. Then that person calls you and gives you 2-week notice.
Yep.
That solved nothing, right?
Yep, exactly. And another question, kind of piggybacking off of Lorenzo's, is from Brittany. And it says, her question is, how do you help develop and create career paths for your employees? I think you just touched on that a little bit, but any advice for a manager or leader that might be wondering that? Like, what are some tangible things they could do to look out for their staff?
So we brought in someone for an intern about a year ago.
Okay.
She came in just for 3 months. And we tested her out in a few things, and we're like, she seems to have the skill. Let's give her some more. And then something else, we'll give her some more. And finally, we're like, hey, are you willing to go to school and work for us part-time? And she was willing to do that. And so we kept okay, let's see where her interest lies. Why not try that out? And we do actually do a grad trainee program at Aspen. We're bringing someone in, and we actually move them around for 2 years from department to department.
Wow.
That gives someone a feel, because what if you think you want to be an accountant, but you go into treasury, you go, you know what, I really like treasury. Or you start working with HR on payroll and you go, I kind of like this whole payroll thing. So trying to build that opportunity, not just for the grad trainees or the interns, but also the people on the team. I have a project. It may not be quite what you do, but how about we try you on this? Because that expands that person's world, right? Not only, let's say they're not interested in it, but now they understand this other department. They understand what's involved there. And again, not everyone wants to do that. Sometimes you got to push them out of their comfort zone. And I always go back to I was scared too, and I moved forward. I know you're scared. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. One other question that we'll take is, how do you help your team establish communication skills without devices? So the old-fashioned conversations.
I have someone on my team, I'm always telling him to tell the story. Not 5 Excel spreadsheets, not like long paragraphs that make no sense. Pick up the phone, especially after 2 or 3 emails. Stop with the emails. Pick up the phone and tell the story. Think of chronological. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You'll get someone's attention better than throwing a whole bunch of data at them. But I agree, not everyone wants to do that. So I do suggest it all the time, like, stop. Pick up the phone, talk to someone. If you're not quite sure, happy to join the phone call with you. You know, if you need that extra voice there, or someone just kind of prop them up a little bit quietly in the background.
Yes. I think it's so easy with, Slack and Microsoft Teams and Instant Messenger. It's so easy to never talk to to your colleagues. Something that I do on my team is, if someone sends me an instant message and it's more than like a two or three back and forth, I just pick up the phone and call. And maybe Dan, who asked the question, that's a good tactic. If it's more than a couple emails or IMs, just call the person. But I think that's a challenge we're all going to have as leaders, especially as we add younger people to our teams.
Oh yes, yeah, and I don't have I have people text me all the time. Quick question, need something. We use Teams all over the place, but there truly is nothing like a quick phone call. Or now, as we're returning back to the office, be like, look, you'll bump into someone in the hallway and solve something in 1 minute that a bunch of emails are never going to solve. There is some benefit to that. You know, we don't want to lose interaction completely with people.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. So I guess we'll kind of wrap up because we're bumping up against the end of our time. So I guess Areej, final takeaways, words to live by, advice that we can share with all the folks that are listening here.
I think that my constant theme here was just try it. Again, I did not have a path. I did not start working thinking I wanted to become controller and senior VP. Trust me, that was not at all something I ever would have thought I would have done.
Yeah.
I did not have family here. I didn't have someone who knew the industry or got me in or anything like that. It very much, and that's what I try to get to everyone who, I think some people think that you have to have known someone, or no, you know some people, you make some beginning industry, but you can do it on your own. You can get out there. I'm not saying doing it by yourself. If you know someone, by all means, call them, right? Have someone slip your resume under the, CFO's nose if you need it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We all need someone, but I think my point is that as an immigrant to the U.S., having grown up in the Middle East, coming from a different culture, I still got here without some of the things that get people there. And it really was just me going, hey, pick me, I'll do it. Let me try, let me do it. And like I said, it's perfectly fine to be worried that you did something beyond your ability. Give yourself 6 months at least, and you'll see. So I think that overall, right, be bold, raise your hand, check it out. You never know.
Yes, I love that advice. Be bold, check it out, words to live by. Well, Areej, thank you so much for giving us your time and sharing your story with everyone. And it's a very obvious why you've had the success you have, because you're so compassionate and bold and all the things that any great leader strives to be. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you everyone for tuning in and for all of the questions that were asked. We really appreciate it. Feel free to follow Vaco on LinkedIn for updates and for our next Be Heard event. And for any access to Vaco's resources and industry insights, please feel free to check us out on LinkedIn. And I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Take care, Lauren.
Take care.